and ghouls, and welcome back to the podcast where we talk about all things spooky, dial H for horror. I am your ghostess with the most, Shay.
And I'm your favorite final girl, Gina.
All right, welcome back to our second movie for Pride Month. Yes, we've got an interesting one today. We just watched this movie today.
We did. We watched it together instead of separately like we usually do. So it was kind of fun having a little watch party.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun. We had a lot to say about the movie while we were watching it.
There's a lot of pausing.
There's a lot of pausing, a lot of laughing. So yeah, before we get into this movie and I start explaining like what the movie is, so what is your feeling about like LGBTQ plus based like horror movies?
Horror movies?
Yeah.
As far as horror movies go, I have not watched many. Mm-hmm. Not because I'm not seeking them out. I guess they just haven't presented themselves to me that much.
Right.
But from what I have seen, I do really love it as a genre. Mm-hmm. I think it brings a level of, well, badassery to the movie. Like, I don't know. Like, even though Bit was kind of a flop,
It wasn't a flop until the end.
It wasn't a flop till the end.
It
but
wasn't
like,
a flop till the end.
I wanted to be those girls the whole movie.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You know, they just feel cool. And like, I think there's a lot of like LGBT based horror movies where you kind of are like, mm-hmm. I want to be a part of this crew.
Yeah.
You know, like it gives you that kind of vibe. And
absolutely.
Yeah. What about you though?
Well, I don't really watch a lot of LGBTQ plus based horror movies. Mm-hmm. I think that a lot of it is they're allowing more representation in the community now in movies. We've talked about Scream and the inclusion of Mindy and how she's such a great character because not only is she a lesbian, but she's a person of color and she is very, very well versed on horror. Yes. So it's like, for me, it's like, oh, I see myself in a character for the like first time ever watching a horror movie character. It's like you have somebody who is queer, who's a person of color, and who loves horror. Yeah. So it's like, wow, I can relate to that.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's interesting. I'm glad to see that there's more coming out because I feel like as in part of it being part of the community, we tend to take a lot of movies and call them ours. Yeah. Like henceforth, The Babadook, which we're going to be reviewing later this month, has nothing to do with being gay, but we just claimed The Babadook as our own. I don't know why, but
Pennywise was claimed too.
Too for a while. It's like we just start claiming like horror movie monsters as our own, as part of our community. And it's nice to see that more movies are opening up and allowing that representation. Yes. However, this is not one of them. Just saying that right off the jump, this is not one of them. The movie we're going to talk about today is definitely like an example of what not to do.
If it was just an LGBT movie, maybe. But we had to keep reminding ourselves, like, this is a horror movie.
Yeah, this is a horror movie.
Hey, has anyone died?
No. We'll get into all of that in just a moment. So, just to let you know, today's movie, if you've seen the title of the movie that we're reviewing, is They, Them. So that is a movie that is on Peacock. It came out last year, July 24th, and it went straight to streaming, straight to Peacock, pretty much. It was directed by John Logan, this was his directorial debut. And he is known for Penny Dreadful. That's what he's mostly known for. And it also stars Theo Germain, Anna Chlumsky, I always butcher that name, and Kevin Bacon.
Yes, Kevin Bacon's in this. He's back at camp.
He's back at camp. That was the biggest joke we kept making was like, oh, I guess he didn't have enough of camp after Friday the 13th.
No, not at all. He had to come back. He had to run his own camp, and he really shouldn't have.
Exactly. So the critical reception for this movie, it received a 34% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's actually a funny story. My sister watched this movie. She's not a really big fan of horror movies, but she watched this movie, and she was the one that told me it was really bad. And I kind of feel like my sister is one of those people that she's easy to scare. So if your movie doesn't scare her, you've done something wrong. Like, I can sit here and tell you a movie's not scary. Mm-hmm. You could sit here and tell somebody a movie's not scary, and they could, like, watch it and pee themselves.
Correct.
You know? But that's because we're seasoned. We can sit back and say, like, you know what? That one horror movie was not that scary. And then someone comes back to us and they're just like, that was terrifying.
Like,
what are you
doing recommending this to me?
Exactly. No. When, like, my sister who, like, jumps at, like, the the slightest sound in a video game, she'll like scream and jump,
which is hilarious.
Yes, absolutely hilarious. When she goes to you, because this movie's really bad, like you're like, okay, yeah, it's probably really bad.
Yeah,
it's probably really bad. And she was not wrong. This movie is pretty
bad,
terrible.
So would have been a great decom.
Oh yeah, or we'll talk about that too. We're a Freeform movie.
Sorry, I'm excited.
It's like, okay, so just a quick synopsis before we get into our review part, which is going to be a little bit different than what we normally do, but we're going to have fun with it.
Yeah, we're trying a new format.
Trying something new, yeah. So it's a group of teenagers at an LGBTQ plus conversion camp endures unsettling psychological techniques while being stalked by a mysterious masked killer, which is an oversimplification of this movie overall.
They should have just left that out, like the masked killer part.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. All right. So, to talk about this a little bit, we are introduced when we first start watching this movie, we are introduced to a masked killer who we don't really see again till the end of the film.
Yes.
We see bits and pieces, but for the most part, it's just pretty much like that first opening scene.
Which they do a good job with. Like the opening scene, I'm like, oh cool, this is going to be a slasher. Like this is slasher.
Fun, terrible CGI deer that they threw in there. The worst CGI deer I think I've ever seen.
That was awful.
It looked like it was lifted straight out of a freaking Bethesda game.
It's a freaking must have been the wind.
Exactly. That was some Dark Souls. That was not Dark Souls. Sorry, Elder Scrolls. Yeah, that was some Elder Scrolls shit. Like it was bad. It was bad. But yeah, you're open with the you see the slasher. You see like the slasher kill somebody, and then we go to camp. We go to it's called Whistler's Creek or Whistler's Camp or something like that, and
revive, rejoice, regurgitate. I don't know.
Regurgitate. So we get introduced to a really colorful cast of characters, which honestly, I'm gonna say they did a great job with the casting because pretty much everybody is trans, non-binary, gay. Like, I'm glad that they went that route. They didn't just cast like straight actors. I think there's only one actress that was straight, which was Kim. I think she's straight.
Really?
I think she is. I'm not sure. I didn't see anything confirming or denying it, but I'm, it's a possibility. But for the most part, everybody is representative of their community.
She rocked that role no matter what, though. I really loved her in that role.
And that's one thing I will say about this movie is that the cast of characters, the kids at camp, are actually quite lovable.
Yes.
And that's why we said it feels like a DCOM, or like, if you don't know what that means, a Disney Channel original movie.
Yeah.
I felt like it felt like a Freeform movie.
Yeah.
Like, it was one of those movies you'd watch on Freeform because it was a little, it's edgy.
Yeah, it's got a little edge to it. So it's like Degrassi, but they can curse.
Yeah, exactly. And take off their clothes.
Yeah. Apparently, which that really threw me for a loop because I was feeling like I was watching a Freeform movie at times, and then I was like, "Oh, nudity."
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the cast of characters like of the kids were very, very well done.
Yes.
Very, very likable overall. Very, very likable overall, and it made you. They did a good job building the characters. I will give them their flowers on that. They did a great job building their characters to make you like these characters, so that you didn't want anything bad to happen to these characters.
Exactly. I felt like I was playing a Life is Strange game. Mm-hmm. And I was like, these are my babies. I want to protect all of them. Mm-hmm. And so, like, in a way, like you said it while we were watching the movie, even, like, okay, I don't know when they're going to start, like, killing people off, but, like, now I'm attached to everyone.
Yeah. Exactly. And, it was, like, almost an hour before we got a second kill.
Yeah.
It was almost an hour before we got a second kill in this movie.
The movie's out an hour and 40 minutes long. Yeah. So that's over half of the movie where it does not feel like a horror movie.
There is, I will say there's an element of horror because you have to remember this setting is they're in a conversion therapy camp. And the one thing I will say, like, I'll give this movie its flowers in this way. It's a really well acted movie. And I like the fact that they kind of played with your mind with the camp in the beginning, where you're like, something's not right with this camp, and I really wish they would have leaned into that more.
Yes,
like I felt like when they finally got to the reveal that the camp was basically what you expect a conversion therapy camp to be, where they're torturing these children, and they rushed it. Like they went as fast as possible through that reveal, and I'm like, you can't do that. You kind of have to give us.
You gave us this huge build. You made us suspicious in the beginning. We're now kind of like looking at all of these counselor characters and like trying to figure out what's going on, what's the hidden secret, and it's just it is exactly what it is.
Exactly,
it's just a really awful camp.
Yeah, which I feel like would have been like a scary like reveal, like, you know, if they had leaned into it a little bit more. So basically this conversion therapy camp, just for a little background, is run by Kevin Bacon, and his wife's character's name is Cora. Not his wife in real life, but like the character's name is Cora. And he makes a big speech when the kids all get there about how they're not going to force heterosexuality on them. Yeah. They're not going to push them to be straight. They're not going to push them to denounce who they really are. It's just the chance for them to find themselves, figure everything out, and, you know, go like, you know, if you decide you're going to be straight, great. If you decide you're not, that's fine too.
Yeah, they even said, like, work on your tan then. Like, we don't care.
Just have a good time.
Just have fun.
They seem like they're affirming almost, because the main character, our final person, is Jordan, who's played by Theo Germain. And Jordan is the titular they, them. And somehow the only they, them in this entire queer camp. Like, I was really shocked by that. I was like, you would think there would have been more people that identify as they, them.
I really thought there would be more just trans characters in general versus just having two trans characters.
Yeah, two trans characters. So Jordan, you know, when Owen, which is Kevin Bacon's character's name, splits them off and says girls in one cabin, boys in another cabin, Jordan stands there and is like, where am I going to go? Like, I'm not a boy or a girl. And then Owen's like, oh, no big deal. It's fine. Just hit the boys' cabin. And then if you don't feel comfortable, you can switch, you know, like whatever.
We'll figure something out.
Like, we'll figure something out. We'll figure something for you. And it's like, it's almost coming off as affirming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost
coming like, off okay, you're accommodating, you realize like, oh yeah, we don't have an option, so we're going to work this out. We're going to work together on it. And it's like weirdly comfortable. Yeah. But like what's nice is even Jordan identifies that like there's something weird going on here.
It's like I would rather I think they even say I would rather it be like a Bible thumping.
Yes.
You know, like because even Owen says like this is the last time you're going to hear about God. Like in his speech, he says something about God loves you, and also he's like, this is the last time you're going to hear about God the entire time you're here. So it's like almost like saying like, hey, we're not like those other camps. Like we're not trying to push you to be straight from, you know, a different point of view or whatever. Yes. We're trying to push you to be straight. We're not trying to push you to be anything. We're just trying to push you to be who you want to be.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay. And everybody seems to be cool with it. And the first time you really get like that moment that something is not right is when Alexandra is in the shower and Sarah, the camp counselor, busts in on her in the shower.
Like knocks the door down while this girl's in the shower. And like, for me, so it's kind of confusing because you think the characters are all under age of 18. Yeah. I kind of want to say that because it would be weird for their parents to be forcing them to go to a conversion camp if they are technically like legally adults.
Yeah.
But
Alexandra is 18, I think.
Yeah, she says she's 18.
She says she's 18.
And, I mean, for the kind of content that they showed us with a lot of other characters, they would have to be 18 or older. So, it kind of broke some believability for me there. I wanted to just make that note for a second.
Oh, you know.
But, yeah, so, my thought in this point of the scene, because we didn't know Alexandra was 18, is this grown woman's busting this door down while this girl is showering, and I'm like, okay, this is messed up.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's like Sarah, you know, sees that Alexandra is trans. She's a trans woman, and they oust Alexandra into the boys' cabin. And it's like, okay, so you're not affirming at all.
Not at all.
Owen tries to say, oh, it's because you lied to me. You're not, you know, you lied to me about who you are. But it's like, not lying to you about who I am. Like, I am a woman.
Told you who I am.
I'm a woman, and you're putting me in this cabin, you know, because you are going by my parts rather than what I'm telling you. So yeah, we do have 5 camp counselors. That's including Owen and his wife. Owen really doesn't do much other than just exist. Yeah. His wife, Cora, is the therapist.
If you can call her that.
We'll get to her in a minute. Yeah. Then you have Zane, who is an ex-member of the camp, who is like the dude bro Chad. I called him Chad Whitebeard. That was his.
I'm happy you knew his name because I was like Chad Whitebeard, right?
That's his native name to me because that's just what he was giving. And then his fiance is Sarah. She's the one that busted on Alexandra. And then there's a nurse named Molly who is brand new to the camp. She just started working there.
Yeah, so she's not like really in with the rest of the counselors.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, the entire movie, like, you really get to see the kids bonding with each other and becoming friends with each other, which was very nice. The very first night they're there, there's actually this one character that's a jock. Of course, there's the stereotypical jock that's, you know, ashamed of his sexuality.
Yeah.
And he is, like, totally thrown off because there's a guy named Toby who is the best character in the whole movie.
Best character!
Toby is, like, I love him. And he's just doing a whole skincare routine in the cabin. And, like, he gives some to Jordan to do, too. And Stu is looking at the two of them, like, disgusted, like, oh, like you queens. You queens.
And they're over here just living their best lives doing their skincare. And it's, like, really pure. It's really precious.
It's really cute. And then, like, he rolls over to, like, to turn away from the scene because, you know, he's trying to, like, not be into that. And the guy laying next to, or, like, in the bed next to him, Gabriel, is also doing a skincare routine.
Which was, like, iconic.
It was perfect timing. He just rolls over and he's just like, oh, great, everybody's doing skincare. Like, it's like, Stu, there's nothing wrong with doing skincare.
Yeah, there's actually, you should.
You should. Like,
even if you were straight, you should.
You should, yeah. That's a call to all straight men. You should do skincare and any kind.
Not 3-in-1 body wash either.
No, not 3-in-1 body wash. Not the one that you can use on your hair, your skin, your teeth, your car. Like, your car. You gotta use it on it's just gotta be for your face and your face only.
It's made to like clean your weapons as well.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's what they say. They have those like memes where it's like all the things you can clean with men's body wash. It's like you can clean out your car. You can wash your gun. Like, it's ridiculous. So it's a really nice scene though when they're doing all that. There's other moments of bonding where they show you them like playing tug of war. Like actually when they oust Alexandra into the boys' cabin, Jordan takes her dress and wears it out as sort of like a solidarity thing. Like, you know, like, well, and then like I think Owen even says like, that's not a good look for you, and he's like, oh, it looks better. Then they're like, oh, it looks better on me than, you know, would on you. Like,
exactly. So
they really set up Jordan to be like a really cool character.
Yeah.
And it's why the ending was just so disappointing. Again, it's another like, I won't say it was exactly the same as like Bit, because to be quite honest, like the whole movie was kind of goofy a little bit to me.
Yeah.
But like Jordan was such a cool character and they set him up so well. I keep saying him, I'm sorry, them. They set them up so well that at the end it just fell apart. And I'm like, oh, how'd you do that? How did you do that?
Because it's true. Like, I don't know, Jordan just felt like the perfect final person is what we were saying, which, like, I don't think that's ever actually been done in horror.
No.
So it felt cool to, like, have this super badass non-binary character that you're rooting for. Like, you know, there's even a point when they bring the, you know, the boys of the camp, you know, I'm honestly gonna say those staying in the boys' cabin of the camp, bring them to like shoot guns at one point, and like Jordan is a marks person.
Yeah, like they even say that they're like you know
junior marksman,
like top junior marksman, or sorry, marks person.
Yeah,
you know, so it was really cool. I mean, like they were hitting the target dead center, then they started shooting pine cones. It was like, you know,
it was awesome.
It was really cool, and they set Jordan up so well, and
they gave Jordan such like, you know, good backstory. I mean, the scene where Jordan's talking to Cora in the least favorite scene of the movie.
I was going to get into that. So,
okay.
So they have to go see a therapist every single day to talk about their sexuality, I guess.
Yeah.
And Cora is probably, first of all, they show you a scene where both Cora and Sarah are going through everybody's bags in their bunks while everybody's outside, which is like So unsettling.
Red flag.
Cora finds that Jordan has a Bible that Jordan has written in, drawn on, and like circled things. And they circled one specific passage. Like they circled one specific passage about men not wearing women's clothes and women not wearing men's clothes, which I laughed at because I was like, in biblical times, they wore like robes and stuff. There was really probably no gendered clothing back in that time. So that's definitely something that some crazy priest, when he was translating the Bible, was I'm going to write that in. I'm going to write that in, even though back in biblical times, back in the times before and during Jesus, they didn't do that. They didn't have gendered clothes, really. Everybody kind of wore whatever they could find. You know? There was no gendered clothes.
Clothes were made for functionality.
Exactly.
You know, like, what's going to help me in terms of survival?
It's like, okay, all right, you know, that was totally something that was written by God specifically. He was like, hold on, those robes look like they belong to a woman, not a man. Yeah, you can't wear that.
That's the woman's cut. That's the V-neck.
It's supposed to show off the cleavage. You're not supposed to be wearing a V-neck, sir. But yeah, so like she reads that Bible passage and she just kind of like,
I don't know. She got really excited. It was giving Saint Maud.
It was giving Saint Maud. It was like just a touch less than Saint Maud.
Yeah. Just a touch. We were definitely still there.
I was definitely still there. But yeah, so then the next day, Jordan has a therapy session with Cora, and Cora just goes in on them.
I felt so okay. Well, first, Cora was like trauma dumping, which was like, Cora, this isn't your session.
Yeah, like, she was talking about how all of her family had always been in the Navy, and she mostly had brothers and they all went into the Navy, and then she didn't want to go in the Navy. So then she said that her parents didn't like her or something, or they were mean to her. Yeah. So she starts telling Jordan about how like, oh, you know, if I had been grown up during your time, I probably would have tried to transition too and be a boy because maybe my parents would love me. And like,
I was like, did you just like compare not being in the Navy
to being in the LGBTQ plus community? Like,
excuse me?
And then from there, Cora goes from saying that to like, I think you're doing this because you want to be loved. I think you're pretending that you're dressed this way and you act this way because you want your parents to love you, because nobody loves you, because everybody hates you. And you know that everybody hates you. It just gets progressively worse. And she's saying all this with a smile on her face. It's genuinely a chilling scene. It's terrifying. And because it's like everything you think about yourself being parroted to you. And she knows what she's doing. She can see on Jordan's face, like, you know, that Jordan's upset, and she's just going in on Jordan like as much as she can, just telling Jordan.
And she just keeps this like really monotone voice, very like, you know, not straight face. She has a smile, like pleasant face. And she's just like, you'll never amount to anything. You'll never be good enough. And it's just like, you're not perfect.
It's giving courage, cowardly dog.
It's giving courage, cowardly dog.
You're not perfect. Swinging your head around.
But no, like she just really digs in on them, and Jordan like runs away, and she just continues to sit there and she's just like completely satisfied. And it looks like she was doing that to all of the like students that day, because Gabriel was coming out of the room and was crying, and he had a session right before Jordan did.
Tim Burton looking MFer comes out looking like Tim Burton. No, and that was kind of the moment in the movie where I was like, instead of it being a slasher movie, they should have leaned more into the psychological torture that these kids were facing. Because even though I'm not going to sit there and say it's an enjoyable subject to watch kids go through conversion therapy. Not at all. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh my God, like I totally want to watch a horror movie of like kids being forced to convert. But when you think about it, a lot of horror in general, they try to say something about something. You know, every horror movie has a message, even if the message is like lost on us as an audience at times. But every, like, you know, like we'll talk about it later this month, like The Babadook is a whole allegory for depression and grief. This movie could have been about the horrors of conversion therapy without the slasher aspect, and maybe tone up that psychological torture just a little bit more. And it would have been a really good movie. Like, because that scene alone showed the potential of what that story could have done, where you're going to this conversion therapy camp and they're trying to distance themselves from other conversion therapy camps where they not necessarily, they don't think they really do those torturous techniques anymore. I think it's more manual labor and like Bible reading and praying and like chanting and all that stuff.
Probably really messed up therapy sessions.
You know, probably really messed up therapy sessions. But like the physical stuff that they do in this movie, they probably aren't doing it because it is illegal and they could probably like go to jail for that. Yeah. But it would be interesting for them to see, for them to have done a movie where they put these kids in the situation where it's like, hey, we're not like other conversion camps. We're a cool camp. Like we're cool. Like we don't care if you leave here. We don't care if you leave here and you're still gay. Like we don't care. I love the
Leviticus.
Yeah, it's like I don't care who you love. I'm just, you know, we're just here. Like I'm just here to like, you know, feed you guys for a week and then send you home, you know, like, and then you slowly start to see things breaking down. You have a grown woman busting into the showers while a trans woman is showering to out her. You have, you know, these little digs at Jordan's gender identity being a they them. You have the whole thing with the shooting where it's like he picks Toby to try to put his dog down, and Toby is like a flaming queen. Yes. A flaming queen. Like he was only at the conversion therapy camp so he could get tickets to go see something on Broadway. That's the only reason. His parents said, you go to conversion therapy camp, we'll get you tickets to see something on Broadway.
And he says, say less.
Say less. And he showed up. And you're going to take somebody who's extremely effeminate, who's probably very sympathetic and empathetic, and you're going to give them a gun and say, shoot my dog because my dog is old and needs to die. Or if you don't shoot my dog, I'm going to get Zane to break the dog's legs and torture one by one and torture the dog to death.
Yeah, in front of you, and you'll have to watch.
Like those moments, it's like this movie could have been so good if we leaned in on that. A good
psychological thriller, a hard watch.
It would have been
an important watch though as well. Yeah, but like it would have done a lot better in the genre if they went that route. So I don't understand why they were like, let's make it a slasher.
Yeah, because it was barely a slasher. Because again, almost an hour before we got our second kill. We had our first kill when the movie opened. We had an opening kill, you know, killed the woman while she was driving to the camp. Opening kill. And then we get to, like, an hour later, the guy, Balthazar, who was, like, the groundskeeper, getting his face smashed in while he's looking at, you know, the girls showering on his camera.
Oh, yeah, that's right, Bulbasaur.
Bulbasaur. We kept calling him Bulbasaur because it sounded like they said Bulbasaur in the beginning of the movie. And he was, like, a weird throwaway character. He had dummies in his house. Like,
I don't know the ventriloquist thing he had going on.
He had selfies of the dummies on his wall.
I feel like there was some deep lore to this character that we just did not bother to explore.
We didn't get anything on that character. But, you know, like, again, like I said, this movie had the potential to be a really good psychological thriller, because that therapist scene was genuinely chilling. It was genuinely, it was upsetting. It was like, it made your stomach churn, because you're just like, I mean, we were joking about it, because we were just sitting there going like, damn, okay, like, I'm coming for this guy, this kid's knees, like, leave him alone. But, like, deep down inside, like, I'm watching it, I'm like, man, I can't imagine sitting down with your therapist, even though you know where you're at, and your therapist is supposed to help you, and they're just like, you're useless and nobody loves you.
Yeah, like
with a smile on their face. It sounds like something you would hear in a horror movie, like when somebody's trying to like mess with your head and they're like, nobody loves you. You're useless. You should go and jump off a branch over there. Yeah, like that's what it sounded like. It was giving that, and I was like, okay, so why is this slasher here? Nobody cares about
great value Jason. What's the point of the slasher? Like, I don't get it.
Great value Jason. So after that therapy scene, though, complete tonal shift.
Yeah,
because we go back to the cabin. We go back to the boys' cabin, but everybody's in the boys' cabin, in the boys' which is fine because you know they're all there to have a good time.
Exactly.
And everybody's having a good time. Everybody's talking about stuff. Everybody's like showing like you know like sharing like stories and stuff. Jordan is laying in bed crying, as they should be.
Yeah.
And Alexandra comes over and is like, "Hey, it's okay." Alexandra gives Jordan the pep talk of the year, talks about how great like Jordan is, stop being mean to yourself.
Yeah, then be kind to yourself.
Alexandra starts to quote the song Perfect or Effing Perfect by Pink. She starts reciting the lyrics to the song to Jordan. And then it turns into a giant sing-along.
Like, it's suddenly a musical. It is a musical.
The whole cabin is dancing and singing.
Stuart, my boy Stu.
He's sliding on the floor.
He's sliding.
Gabriel's like, oh, baby. He's hitting them high notes. He's like, oh, baby.
What's her name?
Veronica starts rapping. She gets up there. She's like, they don't like my jeans. They don't like my hair.
Like, it was really giving, like, High School Musical when, like, the girl's like, I like to pop and jam cam and break.
And everyone's like, oh no. It was so random. And it was a great scene. It was a cute scene.
It was great if it was Camp Rock.
It was a great scene if it was a Freeform movie. It was a great scene, but for a horror movie, it was so out of place. I'm just sitting there going, what is that? And it went on for so long. It was almost the entire song they did. I was like, it's a whole musical number.
I'm like, they got the rights to the song and they said, we are using it.
And it's like, it's like, I like the show Yellow Jackets, for example. And there's moments in the show where they've done that, but they do like quick seconds. Like there was one where they found like a tape recorder and they were dancing to This Is How We Do It by Montel Williams.
Yeah.
Which was super cute, but it was like a quick second of them just like in the cabin as they're like, facing their, like, we're in the woods, we're lost, nothing, we don't know if anyone's gonna find us, so we're just
like
gonna dance and have a good time.
Where you can kind of like relate, like, all right, this is the music they like,
this
is how they get
90s,
down. But no, this was like
a musical number.
This was a musical number. Like, this was choreographed. This was like they rehearsed it. It was Glee.
It was Glee.
It was Glee.
It was Glee.
It was legit a Glee scene.
And it's like I was like, I loved the scene, it was cute, but it felt like it would be in place like a Netflix like LGBTQ camp movie, feel good movie, like, this character's crying because the therapist just like ripped them to shreds, and then like everyone's like, and to go from a scene of such psychological like torture, psychological, like your brain's just like listening to this woman say this and you're like, ow, I know how that feels, and like have someone parroting that back to you, just kind of like, that's a knife in the gut right there. That's a knife in the gut. But then you go to Pink. Like, okay, so we just went from like a genuinely chilling scene to Pink. Like, to a Pink sing along. We're just throwing it back in this cabin. We're like, pretty please. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And then there was more random, just like, you start to see more psychological torture happening. Well, first, actually, we find out, like, Jordan does find the photos.
Yes.
Jordan breaks into the office, and they find these photos of children who had been at the camp prior.
Yeah.
Bruised up, cut up. Mm-hmm. It kind of reveals to you right then in that moment that this is not your average
they're being tortured. They're going to be tortured, the kids that are currently there. It felt weird, though, because I didn't quite understand Jordan's motivation to go look. Sorry if you hear a dog right now. Yeah. But to go ahead and, like, start digging through, like, files in the camp office and everything. Like, it just didn't make sense.
It felt like a very big throwaway scene. For something that was that big of a reveal. There was no build-up. There was no real reason to it. There was no conversation. It almost feels like there might have been a scene before that.
Right.
And then they just cut it because they were like, we don't have enough time for this. And they just cut it. And they're like, oh, it's boring. No one cares.
Yeah, we know that Jordan is suspicious, but we didn't know Jordan was suspicious enough to this point where now they're going to start, like, trying to figure out, like, what's the secret of the camp.
Exactly. And while they're in there looking at all these horrible pictures, Nurse Molly walks in and Jordan is like, you knew about this, and Molly's like, I did not know anything about this, excuse me. And they're like over here just being like, you've got to help us, you got to do something, you got to protect us. And Molly's like, I just work here, like, I just took this job, like,
this is just a summer gig, man.
This is just something that I was just trying to do, like, I'm not trying to, like, get involved, but, like, I'll see what I can do. I will see what I can do. So that's your first inkling that's when they reveal that, Owen and co are really trying to do some other, like, bad stuff. And there's a bunch of other stuff that they do throughout the movie, like little things, like they take them out to the woods in the middle of the night and leave them there handcuffed to each other. That's when we get Veronica and Kim with their cuteness, and
my favorite couple.
They're adorable, and I'm happy for them. We stand them.
Yes.
And Kim is like one of those, like, girls who's from the suburbs. She's blonde, she's pretty, she's perfect, she's popular, but she's also very, very gay, which I loved the inclusion of her character because it reminded me of the movie But I'm a Cheerleader, which is one of my favorite lesbian movies of all time, where it's like this girl who's got the perfect life, and then it's like, you're gay. And that's another movie that takes place in a conversion therapy camp, but it's not a horror movie.
It's not a horror movie.
And it's absolutely, I hate to say it because it's a conversion therapy camp, but it's absolutely adorable. And Melanie Linsky is in it, a young Melanie Linsky. So, she's in it too with her New Zealand accent. And Clea Duvall, young Clea Duvall too. Oof, Clea Duvall. Sorry.
Watch that one now.
Oh yeah, such a good movie. Great movie, adorable, great soundtrack, great movie, adorable premise. Young Natasha Lyonne, young Clea Duvall. That's a good conversion therapy movie that doesn't involve slashers, if you guys want to watch it.
Or musicals.
Yeah. There's no musical numbers in that one, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is unfortunate.
But yeah, so that's what Kim reminded me of, was like this perfect girl, and now she's got to go to this conversion therapy camp because she's gay, and she goes there and she ends up finding a girlfriend.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's like, but I'm a cheerleader, but like blood.
Yeah, but like also blood.
You know, so like Kim actually has probably one of my favorite moments in the movie where they get separated. That's when they do the gun thing.
Yes.
They get separated to practice traditional gender norms.
Mm-hmm.
And so Sarah takes all the girls into the kitchen to bake pies. And of course, Veronica is like, I don't care about pies. Like, this is stupid. Like, I don't want to do this. And like, Sarah's like, oh no, you gotta make pies. That's what women do.
Yeah, we're gonna, serve them to the boys.
Serve them to the boys. And then like, Veronica's like, you mean like wait on them? And she goes, a little domesticity wouldn't kill you, Veronica. I'm like, oh my gosh. But it's so obvious that she's trying to break Kim. And she is like constantly flirting with Kim the whole time. Like Sarah's constantly flirting with Kim while she's baking the pie, but doing it in a way that I like to call it. It's like it's the straight girl flirting.
Yeah.
Where you're obviously flirting with the girl, but you're doing it enough that you're not making it too obvious to the girl that maybe isn't sure if she's if she's cool for the summer. Go Demi Lovato on this.
Yeah.
She's cool for the summer. So it's kind of like that flirting where it's like, I love your lipstick, as you're like touching the cheek. Like, I love your lipstick. Where did you get that?
It's the most stressful way to be flirted with.
It is. Trust me, I know.
Same.
Trust me, I know. I've done it and I've experienced it.
I've only experienced it.
You know, and then like, you know, she's doing it and then she sends everybody out. And then she tells Kim to stay, and it's like, we should try a piece of the pie, and like starts making really sexual comments at someone who's probably very much a child. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming she's like at least 17.
Yeah.
So she starts making really sexual comments towards her and feeds her a piece of the pie, like a bit of the pie.
Yeah.
And then starts to try to like touch her, and then Kim, of course, gets like visibly disgusted and like storms out, and she goes off to smoke some happy leaves. Mm-hmm. We're going to call them happy leaves for YouTube's sake. Because even though we post this on a podcast, you know, on YouTube, they'll be like, you can't say that on YouTube.
Yeah.
But she goes to smoke some happy leaves and Veronica finds her. And then that's when Kim tells her, so yeah, the counselor hit on me and I don't know what to do about that.
Yeah. And, Veronica is just like, well, we need to tell somebody. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it is kind of like who we gonna tell?
Yeah.
All the people here are crazy.
Everybody's crazy. And then that's when we go into our first sex scene.
Yeah, full on.
Very, very explicit.
Very explicit.
Which, again, tonal shift. Came out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. We just had the Freeform sing-along thing.
We had a little bit of psychological torture, and now we're watching very explicit scenes. And I'm like, okay, wow.
I was like, wow, they're showing that. They're showing that. Okay.
They showed it.
We're going there.
They showed
Degrassi, it goes there.
Degrassi never went there.
They never went there.
They never went there. But yeah, and then after that, we have a scene where Stu, who is in the lake swimming by himself.
Yeah.
And while
he is zooming in that water, too. He's Michael Phelps. He was like,
he's Aquaman, you know.
That's true.
And then he turns around and Gabriel is standing at the edge of the lake and is like, oh, is the water cold? And like Stu's like, no. And he's like, do you want to be alone? And Stu's like, nah, that's fine. And Gabriel like strips down.
And it's like Twilight.
First of all, Gabriel is absolutely stacked, which is completely shocking.
Gabriel's ripped.
He's got like guns. He's got abs.
I was like, he's got the kid delts. Is cut right now.
Like he's got the delts. Like he's got the thighs. I'm like, this boy. I mean, he's like slim buff.
Yeah,
like slim buff. That's what
I call it the Spider-Man build.
Yeah, he's got the Spider-Man build. Yes. He looks like he would look good in the Spidey suit.
Yeah.
And he goes in the water, but he's also like super pale, and he's got the long hair. So it's nighttime, and the moon is hitting him, and it was giving Twilight. He's like walking all slow, walking into the water, swishing the hips.
I was just like, I feel like this is like a weird vampire seduction scene.
I was like, oh, wait, are we gonna get a new character introduced where Gabriel's actually like a vampire and like?
Because at this point, there's been enough tonal shifts where, like, I'm willing to accept it.
For all we know, he could be a vampire.
It's a vampire movie now.
Exactly. So then, of course, him and Stu start getting hot and heavy. Yeah. And Stu kind of likes him because he looks like a girl, and it makes him a little bit more comfortable. Mm-hmm. He's soft. They get it on in like a boathouse, an abandoned boathouse. Again, kind of explicit. Kind of explicit.
It's a lot.
And then it cuts to Gabriel sitting there watching Stu sleeping. And Gabriel's like, how do you feel? And he's like, do you feel ashamed? And Stu's like, no, I can feel ashamed tomorrow. Or maybe not,
Stu's like, I'm just happy right now. Like, I really had a nice time with you. Yeah. And, like, I'm just happy to be here with you. Like, It was one of those things, like trying to do, like, the nice little pillow talk afterwards.
It was cute. It was, like, a cute little moment. And then, like, Stu kind of asks Gabriel, like, do you really, like, want to be gay, And, like, then Stu's like, I don't really, like, believe in labels, gay, straight, queer, trans, all this stuff. He's like, I only believe humans have two labels, predator and prey. I know which one I am. Which one are you? And that's the moment the shoe just drops. Yeah. And Gabriel is in on all of it.
Gabriel works for the conversion camp.
He works for the conversion camp. He is.
And let me tell you right now, that threw me for a loop because when his riffs in the Pink song did not give, I work at the conversion camp.
He was, as Owen put it, this is Owen's words, he's the forbidden fruit.
Yeah.
And anybody who sleeps with Gabriel, any man who sleeps with Gabriel gets thrown into the torture chamber, essentially.
Which I just, like, why even have that as an option at this camp? Like, I don't know. Clearly, I don't...
It was set that I will say that was a really good setup because I did not see that coming.
No, I didn't either.
I didn't see that coming. That was like a good like reveal.
We're going
to talk about those later. Yeah. But it was a good reveal because I was not expecting him to be a part of the craziness that's going on there, and especially because he seems so soft, so sweet.
Yeah, he was gentle. He's over here talking about like his dog at home. Like, I have a dachshund. It's a miniature.
He's like one that one of those that cries like whenever anything happens, and he got the big doe eyes, and he's just all soft, and it's like all of a sudden he's just like, I know which one I am. Which one are you? And I'm like, oh no, are you a killer?
No, we were rooting for you.
I'm rooting for you. So he immediately went off of my favorite things list.
Yeah.
I was like, no, you're fired.
Deleted.
So they take Stu into that boathouse, into the back room of that boathouse. Zane, Owen, and Gabriel. They tie Zane up. Or not Zane. They tie Stu up.
Yeah.
And they attach jumper cables to his chest. And basically they do what's called aversion therapy, which is what they used to do back in the 70s to gay people in mental hospitals. Yes. So I was like, yikes, that's scary.
Yeah.
So
it was a hard watch.
It was a hard watch. So basically what they do is they would show him pictures of women and then show him pictures of men. Now, the way they used to do, they're technically supposed to do aversion therapy, not that it's a good thing, you shouldn't do it, is that they look for reactions. Yes. So if you react to the picture of, like, if you're a man and you react to a picture of a man, then they would shock you.
Yes.
They did not do that.
No.
They were just shocking him anytime they put a picture of a man on the screen.
It's supposed to be like an association of, like, when you have that kind of feeling you feel the bad, pain. You feel pain afterwards.
Which would really be bad if he was into that.
Bum, 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 bum.
Sorry, I'm just saying. I had to be the person. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you did.
I ruined everything.
Yeah, it wasn't me this time. So that's good.
I ruined everything. But so it, they pretty much aggressively, like, even at one point you see Owen like turn to Zane and tell him to bump up the electricity pumping through his body. So I mean, they're just like going in on this poor kid, and then they take him into where Nurse Molly is, and they're like, oh, he just needs to rest. And she's like, well, what happened to him? He looks like he needs to go to the hospital. And they're like, no, he just needs to rest. Just put him here and let him sleep.
Yeah, Molly's like, y'all crazy as hell. I quit.
Yeah, she quits. She's done. She's like, I also want to just say, like, Kevin Bacon went a little too hard with this role.
He ate the role.
For no reason. Upset. Like Kevin Bacon is a great actor, just in general, but like, he did not have to go this hard in the role. And I'm just like, between him and Ethan Hawke, last year was just their villain era.
Yes.
Last year was just their villain era.
Absolutely.
Though, I mean, I did love Kevin Bacon in the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special. He wasn't a villain then.
No.
But, yeah, I was like, he was so beautiful. He was so beautiful,
that was
so
pure. A little bit of wholesome.
It was wholesome. But yeah, him and Ethan Hawke were like, it's our villain era. We've entered into our villain era.
Exactly.
Lately, I've been dressing for revenge. Sorry, Taylor. Don't copyright claim me.
Yeah, no, I mean, Kevin Bacon did an incredible job with this role. He made me hate him, which I said at the beginning, I'm like, oh, don't make me hate you, Kevin. Like, you know, I love him, obviously. He's, you know, Friday the 13th alumni, so he has a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
But, no.
He's honestly, Jason need to come get him in this one.
I was like, Jason, come get your mans.
Jason need to come get him in this one. Pamela need to come get him in this one.
Big Mama Pam needed to come out there.
She's like, I thought I put him down.
Exactly.
I put him down. I thought I got
like,
him.
What? I thought I got
but no, like, he did a great job, and that scene when they're shocking Stu was like a good example, because he just, like, when he just does that look to Zane and it's just like does the thumbs up to like bump it up, I was like, oh god,
this man's evil.
Sadistic. Yeah, absolutely sadistic.
That's the word. Yeah, sadistic.
And then this is where we finally start getting more killings.
Yeah, like, here we go. So, like, now let's actually turn it up.
Let's switch the whole genre of the film from, like, a LGBTQ plus, like, kind of sad dramedy, or not dramedy, but like a drama movie, like a drama, to, like, okay, slasher, it's a slasher film again.
Yeah, like, it was like it kind of felt like a coming of age, like, you know, learning to accept yourself, but, like, this is also, like, real world stuff that's happening here, and, like, you know, overcoming adversity, and now it's just like, there's a slasher.
Yeah, there's a killer on
How
the loose.
How about that?
There's a killer on the loose in the camp. So the first kill we have since Balthazar, Zane and Sarah are laying in bed, and they're looking at, it looks like they're looking at Tinder profiles or something. They're looking at pictures of men and women, like, it looks like profiles.
But, like, Zane is showing her photos of women, and, I'm so sorry, what's her name? Sarah. Sarah's showing Zane pictures of men.
Yeah.
And so they're being attracted to those photos.
It's implied that they utilized that tactic to get interested in each other, to sleep with each other.
Yes.
And so it's implied in that moment that that's what they do. But then as they're going into that moment where you're looking at Zane looking at the phone next to Sarah's head while he's trying to do stuff to her.
He's not looking at her. He's looking at a picture of a man.
Yeah. Sarah looks past his head, and there's the killer standing
right there.
There's Great Value Jason standing right behind him, and we don't see really any of the kills, which is kind of disappointing. The only one we saw really was Bulbasaur, where the killer slammed his head into the
which
computer.
Was like, it was cool.
It was a good kill.
It ended fast. Yeah, and I meant to say to you in the moment, like, I wish they kind of, like, went, like, more in with that, because it was really cool how, like, every time his face was getting bashed into the computer, it would cut to, like, a different dummy too, and, like, the dummy's face and, like, the reaction. Yeah, they're just like, oh my god.
It was so super funny, but when the killer kills Zane and Sarah, we just see blood splatters. Yeah. Which, I mean, like, for some people, maybe that's okay. I would have liked to see the bodies, especially because I just didn't like those two characters. I'm just like, no, I want to see the aftermath of that. It's not. I want
the satisfaction at this point. Like, you've made me invested in all the characters in different ways. Where, like, these characters I hate, I want to see them get what they deserve. Basically,
exactly. So, and then you kind of start to realize, okay, well, this person that's doing all these killings is really only killing the camp counselor, so maybe
it's one of the kids.
I didn't call who it was, but I kind of called this, like, who it was going to be. Like, even in the beginning of the movie, I was like, I bet you it's going to be somebody that's affiliated, that went to the camp. Yeah. Like, I bet you. So then Gabriel is in the water, just, like, living his best life after he just ruined Stu's life, and, like, I'm just disappointed in you, Gabriel. I'm so disappointed.
It's, like, the last person I wanted to see at this point.
And he's, like, floating in the water on, like, an inner tube. He's like,
enjoying a
so
cookie,
beautiful, eating the cookie like it's, like, the most orgasmic thing he's ever eaten in his entire life. I'm like, it's a cookie. Like,
chill.
We were eating cookies while we were watching it, and they were good, but we weren't doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
We were just like, oh yeah, this is nice. This is a good tasting cookie. And then he touches something in the water and looks over, and it's Bulbasaur. Yeah! It's Bulbasaur's dead body. It's Bulbasaur's dead body, and he freaks out, falls into the water, and then the killer grabs him, knocks him out, and takes him to the shed where they were torturing Stu before. Hooks him up to the jumper cables, starts flashing all the pictures, and you have to remember...
Flashing them fast.
Gabriel is wet because he was just in the water, and now he's hooked up to electricity. What happens when you put water on something electric?
Go ahead, kids. Go ahead and write in the comments down below what happens. We're going to grade your answer. Your answer at the end.
All right. we got all your answers in? Okay. Yeah, he gets fried to death.
Yeah, he did.
One hit. That's all the killer needed was one hit, and he got fried to death.
Which that was satisfying. That was probably the most satisfying kill to watch, because this character that we had gone on this trip with, where
betrayal.
We loved him, we hated him, and now we're like, that's what you get.
Yeah,
that's what you get for messing with Stu.
Exactly, that's what you get for messing with the kids. Don't no, these are babies. Leave them alone. So then from there, they start. Veronica and Kim go into the mess hall to get food.
Yes,
and they see the bodies
lined up,
and they're like, what the heck? They round up the camp. Owen is like freaking out. He's like, we gotta get out of here. Molly's like, no, I'm gonna get these people. We're gonna leave. Like,
we have to get the bus. All this to go.
All this like chaos is going on. Owen, like, Jordan actually suggests that you give the kids the guns.
Yeah.
And Owen is like, I'm not going to give children firearms. And it's like, but you did before.
You did that. You actually did do that already.
But apparently not, I guess.
Yeah. Because now Owen's suspicious that it's one of the kids that are killing the counselors.
Yep. So the
only two people allowed to have guns is Owen and Cora.
And Cora goes to get the guns, and we don't see her demise.
Which is, like, sucks, because, again, I hate her, and I would have loved to see that woman go down.
So then, at that point, Jordan, like, realizes nobody's come with the guns yet. He sent Alexandra off to basically, like, do the whole, like, freedom run. Take the kids with her and go.
Which, like, her motivational speech to the kids was weird.
It was weird. We can't say it.
We can't say it on YouTube, but, like...
Yeah.
She could have done better.
She could have done better. It was pretty rough.
Yeah.
Then, like, so they leave. Molly has given Alexandra her phone so she can call the cops when they get to a spot that has Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
And Jordan says they're gonna go get the guns. Goes into the where the guns are at, and then realizes, I can't get the guns right now because of whatever reason. And then goes to hide and finds Cora's body with her throat slit.
Yeah.
And then they're shocked and like going, what the heck is going on? And then they look and they see that the killer is in there and is getting ready to confront Owen. And it turns out that the killer is Molly.
Yeah.
But Molly is not Molly. Molly is named Angie.
Yes.
And Angie is an ex-camper who was tortured and beaten at this camp.
Yes.
And basically her life has gone off the rails.
Mm-hmm.
Which first of all, I called that she was gay from the beginning of the movie. Because I was just looking at her and I was like, she's just giving gay. Like, she's just giving gay. And then I also called that it was probably someone that had been at the camp that was doing all the killings.
Yeah. And to let everyone know, Molly is actually the first person in the movie that was killed. So
Molly was the woman Molly was the Drew Barrymore of the movie. She was the opening kill.
Exactly.
Yeah, the real Molly, not the Molly we've come to know.
Yeah, that's how Angie was able to work as Molly at the camp.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So she really wants to kill Kevin Bacon. She really wants to kill Owen. She's just like done. Like, she's like, you ruined my life. You took everything from me. So I want to end you.
Which, as a viewer, I'm like, go for it.
Yeah. Then Jordan ends up with the gun, and Angie's like, kill him.
Yeah. Come on, let's get this over with.
And
this guy's been torturing us.
And then like Owen's like, you're not strong enough to do this. You're not strong enough to take a man's life.
Yeah,
like, you're not
take
strong
a person's life.
So then Jordan's just like, I am strong enough not to do this.
Yeah, and it was like, Jordan, this is not the time.
This is when
This
is when they go like full on like after school special, in my opinion.
Yes.
It's like, no one's gonna tell me who I am. And I'm like, oh my god, Jordan, this is the time you do kill the person that's causing all the pain. You don't just let them,
like, this is a horror movie.
Yeah.
You usually just go ahead and kill off the bad guy, which is Owen in this situation. You're like, no, I don't need to. Like, I feel like he was gonna be like Sora, like, my friends are my power. Like, boy, bruh,
like, stop, just stop. Yeah, and it was like, and then it ended up being Angie that rammed Owen into a taxidermied rhino horn.
Cool kill.
And then slit his throat. Yeah. And that was how Owen met his demise. But unfortunately, Angie got arrested at the end.
Yeah.
And Jordan and his peeps apparently live happily ever after.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah, the movie's
movie's way too long
Yeah, really.
I mean,
long.
it's an hour and 40 minutes, but it felt like it was like 5 hours.
It really did.
It's pretty boring for the most part. The tonal shifts.
It's too weird. Like, you just don't. I don't understand what genre movie I watched.
Yeah.
Like,
the tonal shifts there's just too many.
There's too many, and they don't flow into each other at all. Mm-hmm. It's just like they just flip flop really fast. Like, for me to go from the like feel good sing along scene to like from like a psychological thriller kind of scene where it's like really heavy to a musical sing along to then a full sex scene. It just
and
like
then murder.
Like, it was too much.
It was
way too much
switching.
I don't know, like, maybe the writers they had for this movie all come from different backgrounds and they all wanted to put elements of that into this one film, but like, this could only be successful as like a parody, I feel like, to do that many tonal shifts in a film.
So my biggest issue with this film, like, overall, aside from it just not being like a good film, is like, you're tackling such a heavy subject as conversion therapy, a subject that's really dark and scary, and a subject that, I mean, I've been in a position, I feel like we've been in positions where we're lucky enough to have never had to experience that kind of horror, but I've known people who have been through those types of horrors before. And kind of, you know, people always complained about the movie, but I'm a cheerleader. Oh, it's making it too cutesy. Like, conversion therapy is not cute. Mm-hmm. And it's like, no, it's not. You're right. But that's like the whole point of the movie is like, it's not cute, but like, you know, she's still finding who she is at the end.
Correct.
You know, it's a goofy movie. It's not supposed to be taken seriously, but this movie felt like it wanted you to take it seriously. And I felt like the people that were handling the story did not handle it well.
Not at all.
I appreciate that they took time to make you love the characters, but even still, you don't know enough about them. You don't know enough about their lives before they came to the camp. You know, of course, that why they're there, but you don't know enough about their lives before they came to the camp and who they really are.
Correct.
You have all of this stuff that you could have done with this film. That you could have made a good psychological horror film based around conversion. Because don't get me wrong, I'm not weak by any means where I'm like, don't make movies about this type of stuff. It makes me uncomfortable. Like, no, that's what horror is supposed to do. Mm-hmm. If you want to make a horror movie about conversion therapy, make a horror movie about conversion therapy. Show the horror of conversion therapy, but don't throw in a slasher. And on top of that, don't throw in a slasher that's part of the community that's been wronged, because then you're kind of painting the community in a bad light.
Exactly, because like then in the end, it's like, okay, so in ways I was rooting for, I'm just going to call her Molly, because that's how we knew her for the majority of the film. But it's like, it even feels weird, like when the cops are coming and she's like, we can like run away, Jordan, and we can like stop all camps like this. We can kill them all. We can kill them all. And it's like, but why would Molly have given Alexandra her phone to call the police if she knew the police were going to come and find her? And it's like, there's a huge plot hole there for me. And like, it just, I don't know. She's a likable character, Molly is.
I did like her.
And to make her the villain, it just, like, now we have to hate her, especially since, you know, Jordan's over here, like, after school special.
Yeah, on top of that, it's like, you know, when you watch a horror movie, you're not supposed to root for the killer.
No.
And, like, I know you watched that movie Sick. Mm-hmm. I watched it too. That, you know, my biggest problem with that movie was the people that were doing the killing were doing it for a reason. I'm not saying that the killing was valid, but they had a valid reason to be angry at that girl.
Yes.
They had a valid reason to be angry at that girl, and you're trying to make me think that they're crazy.
Yes.
And I'm like, no, I don't think that they're crazy. Like, what they're doing is absolutely wrong.
Insane.
You shouldn't do that.
No.
But they lost their son because of that girl's negligence.
Yeah.
They lost their son because of that girl's, and she didn't even care when they were telling them. And she was like,
so what?
I mean, I'm a college student. I got to do what I got to do.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it's like, and then because I even remember when I watched the movie, I said, okay, so we're supposed to root for the girl who's basically just didn't care that COVID was a thing and like hurting people.
Yeah.
We're supposed to root for her to be like, to get out of the situation.
It's very much like the same reveal.
Yeah.
Like between that movie and this movie. Are they both Peacock movies?
Yeah, they're both Peacock movies.
Interesting.
Yeah. And that's how I felt about this one, was like, now all of a sudden I'm supposed to be rooting for the people that run the conversion therapy camp after you've shown me all the horrible things they've done to people?
Spare Owen, yes, we must, and not spare him because we care about him, but because, like...
And then to have Jordan be the one to make the decision to spare Owen, it's like, no. I felt like this, especially the one scene in the movie where Jordan shot the dog instead of Toby, and then pointed the gun at Owen. It was like a try me moment. Yeah. And I'm like, why would they then go back on that? Right. When Jordan literally bowed up to Owen and held the gun up to him, looking like they looked down that barrel at him like, you see what I'm capable of.
Those two scenes had to be written by two different writers.
Exactly. Because all of a sudden you're like, I can't take a human life. No one's going to tell me who I am. It's like, no, man. And I'm not saying, again, this is not me saying that we should shoot people. I don't think that. No. I'm not saying that. That's a terrible thing to do.
We're just saying for the tone of a horror movie. Yeah.
In the case of a movie like this, yes. I don't understand why all of a sudden we were supposed to feel bad for these people that were causing this harm. Yeah. It's the same thing like the movie Sick. Even though the movie Sick, throughout the entire movie, you didn't know why they were chasing after this one specific girl. But in the moment when they revealed it, I was like, you can't make me all of a sudden root for her when she doesn't even care that she caused a loss in your life. Mm-hmm. Like, she doesn't even care. And I understand, it's like, it's a reach, there's a lot going on, but still, you know, they're justified in thinking the way they think because they saw the picture of you making out with their son while you had COVID. Mm-hmm. Like, you were making out with their son while you had COVID. So they're like, you had COVID and you made out with my son, and then he got COVID and he died.
Exactly.
Like, just, oh my gosh. So this movie was a mess.
It was a mess.
This movie was a mess.
I mean, your final thoughts that you have written here is perfect. Yikes, was not a fan.
Yeah, that's all I could really say. It was yikes, was not a fan. So what rating would you give this movie, Gina?
A single star.
A single star.
Then that one star is Toby. But also, need to make a side note, don't name your one black male character Toby.
Yeah.
Just gonna be honest here. And then don't make your one black female character the Harriet Tubman of the movie.
Exactly.
I'm just saying, we were doing a lot here for, like, LGBT community, but, like...
The black people were not winning. We're not thriving.
Like, y'all did some stuff that felt a little weird.
Yeah, it felt like subtly racist.
Subtly racist. And I'm gonna call you out on it. So, that's our one star, is Toby. And that is it.
He deserves it.
He deserves it.
He's earned that star.
He has. And what about you?
I was generous. I gave it 1.5 stars.
Hey.
The half star was because of Jordan up until the end of the movie, because I really did like Jordan.
True.
And the 1 star was Toby. The 1 star was Toby. This movie isn't very good. It is on Peacock if you do want to watch it.
If you have nothing else going on.
If you have an hour and 40 minutes to kill, you want to watch it. Yeah, it's a dumb movie. It's kind of a disgrace to the LGBTQ plus community. Yeah. It's a disgrace to horror fans that are in the LGBTQ plus community. And Bit was definitely a lot better.
Bit was better.
Bit was a lot better.
In the rank list for this month's horror movies.
Yeah.
We have They, Them at the bottom, then Bit.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest, I think we know who's going to be on top this month.
Oh, yeah.
And that's next week's.
I'm so excited about next week's video. It's gonna be lit. That's all I gotta say. Woo! You guys get ready, because when we do that review for next week's episode, oh my god, I got so much to say. I have been holding it inside for over a decade now about how great that movie is, and now that Gen Z has kind of found this movie and like loved this movie, I'm like, thank you. I can finally now write my dissertation on this film.
Correct.
Because for years I've been keeping it inside because people are like, that movie sucks. It's like one of the worst horror movies ever. I'm like, is it though? I'm like, is it though? And it still has the best soundtrack.
Best soundtrack.
Hard. Fueled by Ramen didn't have to go
off.
Like, Fueled by Ramen did not have to go off.
No, they didn't. But like, also, can we get another movie where Fueled by Ramen can do a soundtrack?
For real.
Because it's been a bit.
It has been a bit. And they've got some great bands on there.
They really do. Now. And I would love to just like, oh god, it just
Haley Williams, that one song that she did in that movie, just the one song, Haley Williams, she crushed it.
Panic at the Disco, you have All Time Low
in there. Panic at the Disco when they first stepped out without
it was just
Ryan
and Spencer.
Ryan and John,
yeah.
Cobra Starship when they were still a thing.
Cobra Starship, that's
Cute is what we aim for.
Yeah,
yeah. There's
so
Cute is what we aim for. That's still my favorite song of the whole entire soundtrack. Is Time. I love that
song.
I'm
still Toxic Valentine's my favorite.
Of course,
on the album.
yeah. Of course, no. It's like Time is just beautiful.
Chef's kiss, but that's next week.
That's next week. It'll probably be a long video. We apologize, but it's just going to be us excitedly screaming about Jennifer's body.
Yes.
So I don't think I'm going to be able to get my shirt in time for that. So sad.
We got to make shirts.
Oh.
Alrighty. Yeah. Do we have news this week?
I don't think so. There really wasn't anything that I saw that was like horror news.
And the only horror, you know what? We have a bit of horror news. We do. And that is that the Spooky Empire and Spookala.
Oh yeah, October. Yes, so Spooky Empire Con and Spookala. We already have our tickets for October Spooky Empire Con. If you guys don't know what it is a con in Orlando. We went to it this past month in May, and we had a blast. We only went for like a few hours for one day, but it was still amazing.
It was a good time.
We got to see that. We talked about it. We got to see the Terrifier panel. We got to see a Halloween Horror Nights panel. But yeah, we are going to be going to Spooky Empire Con in October. They just dropped some bangers of guests. So they opened with Doug Bradley, the original Pinhead, the original Hellraiser.
Actually, what?
For real. Then on his birthday, they dropped Robert Englund, Freddy freaking Krueger. I am like, I love Freddy Krueger. So when I saw that, I was like, I immediately texted Gina. I was like, Gina.
I was like, no.
I did the death growl. I was like, Gina.
And I'm like, I'm broke.
And then the third announcement so far that they have is Kane Hodder.
Yes.
Jason.
I'm so excited.
She's living for this. I told her, I was like, you got to get Jason Takes Manhattan on DVD to get him to sign it.
I'm going to get it on DVD
to get him to sign it.
I wish I bought the script.
Oh yeah, you could have gotten him to,
Well, it was already signed by him.
So you could have had 2 signatures. And then Spookala is another con that they have in Florida, which they're actually holding it this weekend as we're recording it.
Yeah.
But they have another one in October as well. This one that they're holding is in Ocala. The next one's going to be in Tampa.
Yeah.
Spencer from Ice Nine Kills. My favorite band. I love them so much. Spencer is going to be there meeting the fans and just chilling. And I'm like, I love him. He's the best. And then they dropped the biggest, and Gina knows this, y'all know this because you've heard my videos, they dropped the biggest announcement. I screamed. I was on the floor. I was literally working when I saw this announcement, and I was like on the floor.
I'm so ready.
Skeet Ulrich! Skeet Ulrich!
I just cough.
I just cough. I am.
Skeet Ulrich!
I was so sad because Matthew Lillard, and Nev Campbell came to MegaCon in March, and I couldn't come because, I just didn't have the funds for it at the time. And I'm already going to be here for Spooky Empire Con, but I was just like, okay, I gotta go to Spookala now too, because he's coming back, and Jamie Kennedy's gonna be there, and I know they're gonna drop Matthew Lillard. I have it in my chest. He's gonna be there.
He's gonna be there.
I mean, the only thing I think might stop him is the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, but I'm like, maybe he'll have a little bit of time to stop by for like a day,
like just one day.
We will go
to every day of the con,
probably. But but just Skeet Ulrich alone, like I was like, you know what? That is like I kept saying it. I was like, if he ever comes back to Florida or Georgia or anywhere near me, I have got to go and meet this man, because like I love Billy Loomis, I love Scream, and we just got amazing mugs too.
We did
from Spooky Empire. We got amazing like wine glasses.
Yeah, they're like the
tumblers, like the wine tumblers, and they have Billy and Stu on them. One has Billy and one has Stu. So I'm like, I kind of want Skate to sign that.
Right. And then if Matthew Lillard's there, we can have him sign the Stu one. And like,
just amazing. I'm so excited for these cons. Like, these horror cons are really going hard.
They're going hard.
I'm super excited for that.
So. I'm so excited to meet Spencer.
I know. I'm really excited to meet Spencer.
We're gonna be so broke.
I saw Spencer was gonna be there.
Please check out our Patreon.
please. We will be doing more content about Bad Movie of the Month last month, because I cut the segment out because we didn't get to talk about it. So we filmed a whole bad movie of the month. It was actually hilarious because we were trashed. While we were filming it. We drank a lot of soju.
We did.
A lot of soju.
I learned I like soju.
Soju's amazing, incredible. Best thing. We got to get more of that for the future.
Yeah.
But we drank a lot of soju and we watched Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. And it was a fun time. We had a great time. When I went to go edit the video, the screen recording I took of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey would not pass the first 10 seconds of the video. So unfortunately, it would have just been an entire video of us sitting there being drunk, which I still have the video. If you guys want to see it, I'll drop it on the Patreon. I just don't have the movie. I just don't have the movie.
We could always drop it as a watch along.
Yeah.
If you guys ever wanted to. I know some folks do that, like podcasts even, where they have the full recording of them watching the movie and then you are meant to just watch the movie.
Yeah, we could do something like that. So maybe we'll do that. I don't know what happened to the recording. It's really weird because when I watch it on the place that we record on, it works fine.
Yeah.
It runs the whole movie. And I wasn't going to upload the whole movie. I don't do that. Normally I would just cut. I usually just cut parts out. I try to pick like I did with the Jason one.
Yeah.
I try to pick moments that are really funny and I try to put those in there. So it's not the entire movie, but I picked like our best banter, our best stuff. Like I try to do that. And that's what I was going to do. And I'm like, there's no movie. The movie's just frozen. It just freezes on the title card. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, well.
But it was a good video and maybe we'll do a watch along. We'll upload it as a watch along on Patreon. But yeah, if you want to support our Patreon so we can meet like Spencer and Skeet and Robert and Kane.
And just like everyone we've ever loved, basically.
We'll post videos. We'll post pictures. We'll try to see if we get a video of Spencer saying, like, what's up, guys, in John H for horror. Like, we'll try to see.
Oh my god, I would cry. I'd
scream. I'd cry. I'd roll on the floor. I'd turn
vomit.
into a ball. Yeah. I'd be like the Reagan from The Exorcist. My head would be spinning and I'd just be puking.
And he'd probably be really cool with that. He's like, that's sick.
He'd be like, that's awesome. I didn't know you could do that. So that's what Halloween, the month of Halloween, is gonna.
It's gonna be a good time.
I'm excited for it.
And other exciting things too. Like we'll probably end up going to Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh yeah,
Hollow Scream.
Oh yeah. I'm hoping we can try to do Hollow Scream in SeaWorld just because I haven't gone to that one yet. Yeah. I've been to Hollow Scream and Busch Gardens a million times. Yeah. Hollow Scream and SeaWorld.
Honestly, that is what I actually meant. So.
Oh yeah. SeaWorld? Okay.
Yeah, because I've got friends over there.
Yeah. I know you're
gonna go support anyways.
Yeah. So because I wanted to check that out, but Halloween Horror Nights. I'm so mad at y'all. You ain't dropped any announcements.
Nothing.
It is June.
It's June.
Where's the houses? We have one house.
Season.
We have one house. Usually by March, you've dropped like three. Where's the announcements? I looked at my emails last year. I had at least 5 emails by this time this year. Last year,
they are lock and key right now. They are not saying anything, and I'm getting upset.
I'm getting upset too because I'm like, look, I'm going to go regardless just because I love Halloween Horror Nights, but I want to know what I'm walking into.
Yeah, same.
I want to know what I'm getting, and I think they're probably under lock and key because they probably have a lot of things they're trying to steal. They're probably trying to get a lot of IPs on lock. Yeah. That's how I feel like, because I'm like, especially because the big one that everybody keeps saying is coming, I have a feeling they're having a hard time with that one.
I have a feeling they are too.
They're having a hard time.
I think they're going to be able to pull it off, but I think they've got some legalities they're working through.
For those of you who are wondering, there's a speculation map for Halloween Horror Nights, and a big part of this year's event is supposed to be The Last of Us.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's holding them up with announcements.
Yeah.
I think that's what's holding them up with announcements. Although I am a little weirded out because if the speculation map turns out to be true, I don't know how they're going to do a Demon Slayer haunted house.
I'm so confused.
I love Demon Slayer, but I'm like, I don't know how you're going to translate that into a haunted house because, yeah, those creatures are scary, but how are you going to dress people up to look like them?
I have a feeling, if we won't make this into an entire HHN video, but if I could for a second, I think it would be a really cool effect to be able to walk through the house, and they use a lot of screens where they're showing not necessarily scenes, but it helps to create the scene that you're already standing in. Yeah. And then it's almost like the character, whoever's dressed up in that costume, is walking out in front of the screen, so it feels like it's a part of that animation and that you're inside of it. Yeah, I think that would be a really cool effect. I don't think I'm explaining it exactly how I kind of see what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not entirely against it. A lot of my friends who like anime are like, why would they even do this? This is stupid. I think it's brave, and I think that it could really be. I do too. I mean, I understand one of my friends, my roommate, she loves Demon Slayer, and she was like, I don't want this to just suck and people make fun of it. People who don't know anime make fun of it, which I completely valid fear.
completely valid, because especially when it's something that, like, I love Demon Slayer with everything in me, so I want them to do a good job.
Yeah.
If they don't do it justice, it is going to just be like the punching bag house of the year. And I'm like, please don't do that to Demon Slayer. It's such a good show. And I think that if you did it justice, you could probably get some people who maybe aren't crazy about anime into watching that show, because it crosses boundaries. It's one of the most beautifully animated shows I've ever seen. And then you have Muzan Kibutsuji, who just looks like Michael Jackson, and I love making fun of him every time I see him. I'm like, hee hee. He just be coming up in here like snapping. Like, he's scary though. He's terrifying. But I'm like, I didn't know Michael Jackson was so scary. But yes, so that's what's going on in the month of October.
Yeah, so that is a bit of spooky news, and it's fun, and it's stuff we're really excited about, and stuff that we're really excited to bring to you.
I'm ready for a good spooky month.
Yeah, just it's been a long time since I've had a good October.
Same.
So
same. It's probably been about 6 years.
Yeah,
since I've had a good October.
So I'm really happy that this one is
shaping up to be really awesome, especially with those 2 cons alone. Like,
those 2 alone. Yeah.
I'm ready to. I'm so jazzed to
having
meet
you
Robert
around
Englund.
And everything is going to be great. And
I'm so jazzed to meet Robert Englund. I mean, I'm making it happen. I'm saying it now because I'm making sure I manifest. I'm meeting Robert Englund.
That's true.
I mean, like, I love him so much.
Skeet
Ulrich, yes. Skeet Ulrich. Ugh. Can't wait. But yeah, so that's it for the news.
Yes.
So now we're going to move on to our fun topic for the week.
I don't know what that sound was, but
those of you listening to us, we're dancing, so you can't see what we're doing. This is the unfiltered stuff that you guys get.
Yeah.
So this week's fun topic that we have, I thought this was a good idea because I love reveals in horror movies. Mm-hmm. So I wanted us to pick 5 of the best monster/killer reveals in horror movies. So, like, those moments where, like, oh my god, I didn't see that coming, or that was really scary, or that was really cool. I wanted us to make a list of what we thought were our favorites overall. So we're going to talk about those, and then you can let us know what your favorites are, what reveals got you the most. We'll start with our 5th pick and work our way down. So my first one is the movie Sleepaway Camp. The reveal of Angela / Peter. And by the way, I should probably say, spoilers. If you haven't seen any of these movies, you might want to leave. Don't watch this part. Well, some of these you should know by this point.
Yeah.
But this movie has not aged well. And I actually watched this movie after someone had told me to watch this movie, like, not that long ago. Like, it was like maybe like in 2020 I watched this movie because I had Shudder. And someone was like, you need to watch this movie. Like, it's like Friday the 13th, but on crack. And I'm like, oh, okay. And it's a bad movie. Like, like, just in general, like, it's cheesy. It's that 80s slasher camp thing. But the ending of that movie is one of the few things that scares the crap out of me. So when I say this movie hasn't aged well, it's transphobic. Very transphobic movie. So at the end of the movie, you kind of get 2 reveals. There's a character in the movie named Angela that's kind of innocuous. She's just kind of there. She's really shy. She's really quiet. She's really nice. At the end of the movie, you see her sitting with a guy talking at, like, the lake. And then you get this reveal that Angela is actually Peter. Mm. Peter was Angela's brother, and Angela died. Angela's aunt started to make Peter dress up like Angela because she didn't want to have a boy. She didn't want to, like, raise a boy. She wanted to raise a little girl. Nice. So she started dressing her up in dresses and, wearing makeup. And, so you're kind of like, oh, that's messed up. Yeah. That's messed up. So then these 2 kids are walking. They find Angela. Angela is standing there, buck naked, like, full frontal. You see the thing. Holding the guy she was talking to's head. And first of all, the campers' reactions, they're so calm. They're more shocked about the fact that she has male genitalia than the fact that she's holding a severed head.
Yeah, well, that's scary.
They're like, she's a guy.
Like, what? No.
And I'm like, she's holding a severed head.
Like, do you not see
severed head? But
she's also a murderer.
Yeah, what makes that scene so scary is the look on Angela's face and the scream the noise she's making. It's not even a scream. It's like a breathy, like I can't do it. It's like, and it just freezes on that. Just her standing there with her mouth open, her eyes wide, just making that face and like groaning. And I was literally like, can we stop? Can we turn this off? Can this end? Can this, and it finally freeze frames just on her standing there, like looking off to the side with her mouth agape, holding the head. It's so chilling. It's a really good reveal. It's problematic as hell, but it's a really good reveal because it scared the crap out of me. And I was like, I was not expecting that. I was kind of like, oh, that's kind of like messed up that like, this is like, oh, their killer is a transgender woman essentially, but a transgender woman that was forced to be a transgender woman.
Yeah.
That's kind of messed up. But then like that, her face popped up on the screen and she was making that noise and I'm like, that's terrifying. That is scary. Like that noise. I actually watched the ending scene the other day. Like actually it was a couple weeks ago because it popped up on a list I was like reading where it was saying like the scariest sounds in horror, and it was like number 2. Like I think it was number 3. The number 1 sound was Kayako, the Grudge. That was the number 1 sound. That's the sound that scares everybody. And I'm like, I love it. I just do it on a regular basis.
Yeah, exactly, right?
I just be chilling and I just start making the noise.
It's like one of my sounds when I'm dissociating.
Yeah, exactly. I'm stretching. I'm like, like just turn into the Grudge. But that was number 3 was Sleepaway Camp. And I was like, let me watch this again to see if it's still scary. Nope, still scary. Yeah, nope. Back out. Like it's just the face, the noise. It's really well done. And I can have to give them their flowers because it scared the crap out of me when I saw it.
That's a good one.
So that's my number 5.
Yeah, that's a really good one. My number 5 is The Pale Man from Pan's Labyrinth, which, like, amazing movie.
Fantastic. One of my favorite movies ever.
Yeah. I mean, first time I ever watched it was with you.
Yep. I was showing it to everybody when I first watched it.
You're like, you check out this. You're taking it out of your bag, like the DVD, like check this out. Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah, exactly. I was literally showing it to everybody. I was like, Mom, you gotta watch this movie. Dad, you gotta watch this movie. Hey, everybody, watch this movie.
Everyone gather.
We're all gonna sit down and watch this movie. This movie's twisted.
I know, right? We're watching Pan's Labyrinth.
Such a beautiful movie.
But no, I love the Pale Man though. That scene is just like
scariest.
It's scary. It's cool. It had me on the edge of my seat. Always does whenever I watch it. I love the concept of the character. I guess a lot of the ones that I have here, 3 out of 5, is kind of more for character design purposes. The Pale Man is essentially like there's this really long buffet style table that the girl like walks in and sees, and it's like a trial.
Yeah, she's supposed to be getting like a key.
Yeah,
the whole thing is like they say don't touch anything that's on the table.
Exactly, like you know you're gonna see a lot of food, and it's gonna look bussin'.
Yeah, of course, it's like all delicious looking food.
Don't eat the food. Okay, the food's like Gabriel, the forbidden fruit, I guess.
Yeah, the forbidden fruit, forbidden fruit.
But, so she's making her way through, and you're like, all right, girl, just, do what you gotta do. Get that key and leave. And, Pale Man's just sitting there.
He's sitting very straight, and there's eyes on a plate in front of him.
Yeah, wonderful posture. There's eyes on the plate. He's just, he has no eyes in his face.
Yeah, he has no place for eyes.
No place for eyes. Nothing at all. And, she's making her way through, and it has been a while since I've seen it, so I cannot remember it. She grabs the key first, and then she eats the fruit, I believe. Yes. She goes ahead, she obtains the key, and then she's like, you know what? Let's go get a little something, because, I did a good job. I did a good job. In my mouth. It's a little celebration grape here, and it's like, girl, what? Why? You got grapes at home.
Exactly.
You got grapes at home. Right. I understand grapes are going for $8 a bag right now, but, like...
Exactly.
So she went in and ate one, and in that moment is when the Pale Man starts to move and plops the eyes inside of his hands.
Yeah.
And then
he holds his
hands up where his eyes should be. And it just that alone, it's for scary. Character design.
It's so...
All you have to do is put your hands over your face, and suddenly you're terrifying.
Yep.
Like,
it's so scary. And then the way he moves.
Yeah, exactly. The movements, like that actor. Judge Jones did such an amazing job, like just portraying this really creepy character, and I really live for that whole concept of I used to draw the hands on my eyes.
Used to draw the
eyes on my hands.
Yep, and do the walk around.
Yeah, I would come at you like it because I thought it was such a cool look. So really more for anything is the character design, but that movie also, or that scene, has a lot of suspense to it, and it is a cool reveal.
Yeah, because you have no idea what's going to happen when she walks in there, and when you see him, you don't think the eyes are his, or he's going to plop them in.
You think he's eating them.
You don't know what's going to happen. So the moment when he puts the eyes in his hands and he just like lifts his hands up and covers his face, like you're like, oh Lord. And then he's like following her down and walking, and like his bones are cracking. He puts his hand out so he can look, like see her, like in the eyes, like going around.
It's like, such a cool concept. I would love to have that in a video game.
Yeah.
I would love for that to be a boss battle.
Super cool. It's like a Silent Hill boss.
Yeah, exactly. But that's my number 5. Would you like to share your number 4 with us?
Yes. So I'm not going to talk about this one too much because we did a whole video about this one, but it is a great reveal, and I thought it deserved its flowers. So my number 4 pick is the boy, Brahms, in the walls.
Brahmsy.
Yeah, no, because as we said in the video, my jaw hit the floor. I was shocked. It was when I started paying attention to the movie. I was like, this man is living in the walls, and he got a baby doll mask, and he's talking like a child. Like, what is happening here? I am so shocked. So yeah, that was genuinely one that like got me and made my jaw hit the floor. So like I said, I'm not going to talk about that one too much because we did a whole video about it. You can go watch that video and you can hear our full opinion about it. But yeah, not going to talk about that one too much. But yes, it's the boy. It's the boy, which is a cool reveal. Just the whole climbing out of the wall part. It was creepy. Just I love it. Like, he looks massive when he comes out of the wall too. So tall and bulky. Yeah, it was like cool. Dirty effect. And sweaty. Yeah, and gross. But kind of yummy. Well, so there's a lot of girls who think he's very yummy. We're not going to talk about that though. Anyways, what's your number 4? My number 4 is Orphan. The like sister movie to the boy, I guess. Movie, yeah, they're brother and sister. Brahms and Esther are they're brother and sister. Get together. Which, like, same thing. We did do an entire movie about Orphan. Orphan First Kill, but we do touch on the original a lot. And I mean, at this point, we all kind of know what the reveal is, but, you know, finding the whole moment of finding out that Esther is actually a 30-year-old woman and everything, and them, like, you know, starting to show, like, you know, her taking off the collar and everything. The teeth out. Yeah, and you see her and you're like, oh, dang, she do look old. Like, you know, you're like, oh, man, that was good. I don't know. It's a great reveal. It's a great reveal. I'm blanking on the name of the director right now, and I feel horrible about it. Yeah, it's okay. But William Brent Bell. Oh, right. I knew it was a William, but I couldn't remember the rest of it. Yeah, William Brent Bell. Like, he knows how to do a good twist. He does. Yeah, he does. That was genuinely a shocking twist. Yeah. So, kudos. You know, we just kind of, you know, both give him his flowers. Yes. Yeah. All right. My number 3, this one's kind of a comical one, but it's also deserved because this movie is absolute garbage. I will tell you it is horrible. Don't ever watch this movie. It is a waste of time. It is a waste of air. It's a waste of space. However, the character design for this character is very cool, and it's sad that he was wasted. So my number 3 pick is The Bye-Bye Man. So this is a movie where, like, the whole thing is, like, people, if they hear the Bye-Bye Man's name, like, he comes and curses them and, like, kills them and all that stuff. And you're not supposed to repeat his name. That's why the whole tagline's like, don't think it, don't say it, you know? Terrible movie, again. The Bye-Bye Man is, like, a pale, ghost-like figure that wears a hood, and he has a dog. He has a hound dog. And his reveal, like, his big moment when he shows up in the movie, at the end, he walks down the stairs and he struts down the stairs. Like, he sissies that walk. He just walks down the stairs all slow with his chest out, shoulders moving, and then he just slowly takes off the hood to reveal his ghost white face. And I'm like, there's just something so, like, you know, like, there's just something so epic about that. Like, I don't know, it was something so, like, smooth, like, about the way he did that. He just, like, the guy's, like, cowering in the corner all scared, and he's just like, let me just take my hood off. Don't I look great? And I'm like, I remember I saw this movie in theaters. Don't ask why. I saw this movie in theaters, and I remember busting out, and I just lost it laughing. I was like, yes! In the theater. And, like, me and my ex are, like, cheering. We're like, that was great! Like, do it again! Run it back! I want to see him walk down the stairs again! Like, it's stupid, but it is a great reveal because it's the first time you actually see the Bye-Bye Man in his full thing, because most of the time you just see him as a shadowy figure. So it's the first time you actually see him in his, like, full costume, like, full, like, ensemble, and he just comes down and he takes off the hood and he just looks all sleek and he just kind of gives that look and he holds his hand out like he's gonna get him, and it's like, he was just working it. I was go! His best go! Life. So best part of the movie. It was the best part of the movie. Only good part of the movie. The rest of it was just
Yeah. I actually just watched that for the first time this year.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, because I was like, what's over on Amazon Prime? And then I was like, oh, Bye Bye Man like leaves today. I think it was on Amazon Prime or it was Netflix. And I was like, I should watch it since it's gonna be leaving. And I was like, I should have just let this be.
Yeah. But at least you got to see that amazing character reveal.
I did. So
he's like walk fashion baby. All right, what is your number 3?
My number 3. It's an amazing character reveal. It's Billy Loomis.
Billy Loomis.
I mean, of course, I wasn't shocked.
That line is so glorious. Oh, God. We all go a little mad sometimes.
Oh!
Think I can get him to say that when we go to the concert?
Absolutely. If you don't, I will.
I'll be like, can you just say that we all go a little mad sometimes?
Can you say corn syrup? I want to make it my text tone.
Oh God. Okay. We are not drunk, so there's no reason for this.
No.
This is our default setting.
This is our default setting. That's worse. But yeah, no, I mean, it was like something that like I called the first time I watched it. So it wasn't like totally surprising. So like that's not why I chose this reveal. Like
it is a good reveal, like even
but it is I mean, him just sitting there, he has the blood on him and everything, and
it's just like that moment when like you think he's protecting her from Randy and Stu, or mostly Randy. You start to think that Randy might be it, and then like he just turns around and he's just like, we all go a little mad sometimes, and shoots Randy. You're just like, whoa. I mean, I knew this was coming, but like I didn't know it was coming like that.
I didn't know I'd feel this way when it happened.
Like, I'm so conflicted because I wasn't sure if I should like you or not.
And it's like,
I still like you.
I still do at this point, and it's even weirder. And
like, I don't know how I feel about
this
that.
This is confusing now.
Yeah,
like,
literally.
You don't understand.
Oh my God.
No, it's just iconic scene. I mean, I did this one for the girlies.
Did this one for me.
I did it for Baltimore.
Yeah, oh my God.
So... yeah, that's really why he chose it.
It is a good reveal. I explicitly stayed away from any of the Scream reveals because I could fill this list with Scream reveals, but I didn't want to be that person.
Yeah, like, and that's another Roman. Hard thing. No, F Roman. Me and all my homies hate Roman.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna. I don't even know. I don't remember anymore. So we're good. Let's move forward. So what is your number 2?
My number 2 is the opening scene of Halloween 1978, where we get the reveal that the person who just killed Judith Myers is a child.
Iconic.
At that point in my life, like I never saw Halloween, the original Halloween, when I was like really young. I didn't see the original Halloween until I was like in high school, maybe. Like, I was like in high school because I didn't see it till then. And I remember the genuine shock that I had when they took the mask off and it was a child. I was just like, what? Because I was just expecting like, a grown man. That's all I was thinking of because I knew who Michael Myers was. Because obviously, my brother loves Michael Myers. But, so I knew who Michael Myers was. But I'm like, I am actually shocked that they went that route, that it was a kid that did this brutal murder, like this brutal stabbing in the beginning of the movie. It's a really good reveal. And even though it's like, I think it kind of gets slept on because everybody just focuses on adult Michael Myers. But it's like, you forget about how like,
it's a cool moment.
Crazy that was like, when he walks outside the house and you just see his parents walk up and they're like, Michael? And they take the mask off and then it just cuts to like him standing there holding a knife, like dissociating.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, it's a child.
It's a child.
Like, that's a child.
That's one of those moments in horror movies where I'm like, I really wish I was around to see that in theaters, like when it was like first ever airing, just to like be in that crowd and have that like that moment. Because you just know it was a moment.
People were like,
exactly. Like,
because like nowadays, like that's normal, but like,
I have like a lot of like, different moments in horror movies. Yeah, where I really wish I could have like been around for that. Yeah,
your next one is mine for me, but
truth. Yeah. Which is, I thought it was funny because your number 2 is your brother's favorite horror movie character, and it's my brother's favorite horror movie character. Is my number 2.
My mom's favorite.
Oh, okay. Hey, there we go. So for me, it's Alien. The Xenomorph, mainly just for the sake of just talking about this outfit, this costume outfit. What? this costume is just unreal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so big. I actually saw it in person.
Oh wow!
At one time, they used to have it at it was still MGM Studios, but they had it in a glass case there.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I was gonna say you probably have seen it.
Yeah. It is big.
Yeah, it's gigantic and so freaking detailed. Like it's just unreal how cool it is. I don't know. I love aliens. I believe in aliens. So like.
I don't believe in that one. I don't want to believe in that one.
I kind of do. Like, if you want to abduct me, I'm fine with it.
She don't do no abducting. She do chest bursting. That's what she do. I don't want nothing going down my throat.
I just feel like we could sit down and have a real conversation.
I don't want nothing going down my throat and bursting out of my chest.
She's a queen.
She is a mother.
She is a mother.
She is a mother.
I'm a mother. No drama. Anyways, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But no, I just like the way the character looks and everything, and like how they framed it too throughout the movie, where like, you know, you're seeing like small glimpses here and there before you get like the full reveal, which is of course the most like awesome part of everything. Even the chest burster.
That was the scene that got me. That's the scene I always say I wish I could see people's reactions when it came out, because I mean, my mom was like, to put it lightly, my mom's not a horror person, but she loves alien movies. So anytime there's an alien movie, she's like, let's watch this. She always loved the movie Alien. And she sat me down when I was probably about like 10 or 11 to watch it with her and was like, this movie's not really scary. And then the chestburster scene happened. And I was traumatized. I couldn't sleep that night. I was like, thanks, Mom. Thanks for showing me that. Oh, this isn't scary.
My mom did that with Chucky.
I'm like, that's not scary. Oh, it's not scary. Okay, Mom.
She left the room. She put it on. She left the room.
No, my mom stayed in the room with me because we were watching it together. Because we used to watch. Because me and my mom used to watch like Independence Day, Men in Black. Like we would watch.
This ain't no Men in Black.
No. She would watch. We would watch movies like that, like alien movies like that and stuff like that. For I think Close Encounter of a Third Kind we watched together, and so we watched those types of alien movies. So I was like, you know, not super scary ones, more fun ones. And then she's like, let's watch Alien. And I'm like, and I think my dad made me watch Predator. And I'm like, what is happening? Why do my parents want me to watch these things? Like,
Predator was just like one of those things that was on in the living room. Like, oh, and I sit down and like start watching it.
I wasn't as scared of Predator as I was of Alien, though. I thought Predator was more cool. But Alien, when I saw that chest bursting scene, I was like, oh, why'd you make me watch this?
Yeah. Alien was one that I like picked up the DVD and took it in my room and just like randomly decided to watch it one day and was like very, very pleased.
It's a great movie. It's a fantastic movie.
I mean, I had always heard my brother talking about it and how much he likes it. And I'm like, I gotta like check this out. Like, this is like one of those movies I have to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Just the design of the character, the little tiny mouth in the mouth, like all these things, just the costuming, makeup, it's incredible. But yeah, let's go to our number one.
All right, our number one. So my number one pick is what inspired me to do this whole list anyways. Because I still think this is one of the best character reveals. And for me, having known that what this character was before seeing the original movie, to still have been shocked by the reveal shows you how good this reveal was. And that is the reveal of Chucky in Child's Play.
Yes.
One of the best movie monster reveals, and I feel like it gets slept on. Because people always go like for like, you know, Michael Myers or something like that, or not Michael Myers, but like, you know, Freddy Krueger or whatever. I don't know.
Right.
I to put it plainly, I saw The Bride of Chucky before I saw the original Child's Play, so I already knew about Chucky and who he was and what he was all about. I already knew that. So when I sat down to watch Child's Play, I think I watched it with my sister. I was expecting that. I was expecting The Bride of Chucky. I was expecting to go in and Chucky was already doing Chucky
he's
things.
Just doing his thing.
I knew it was the first movie, but I just thought in my head that that's how it was going to be. I was not expecting them to frame the shots the way they did, where you were seeing things from his point of view when he was killing people. And then when it got to the scene where the mom is confronting him and she picks him up and she's shaking him and she's like, you know, what are you, screaming at him? And he just starts going off, cussing at her, swinging his fist. I was like, oh, that is so scary.
Like that moment, it feels very Uncanny Valley. It's like disturbing.
The whole, like that whole scene, like when she realizes that he doesn't have batteries in and she picks him up and the head spins around and he's like, hi, I'm Chucky, wanna play? I'm like, that whole moment was just like, Chef's kiss.
Yeah,
so good.
So good.
So, like, and again, this is me knowing that Chucky was alive already. Yes. Going into the movie knowing he's a killer doll. I've seen The Bride of Chucky. I know what he does.
Exactly.
And still being genuinely, my jaw hitting the floor. I was like, they did a good job with that. And it's, again, one of those moments I wish I could have been in the theater to see that people's reactions. Because I'm like, I can only imagine, like, I'm having this reaction knowing that Chucky is alive. Going into the movie knowing who he is, knowing Charles Lee Ray, the story of Charles Lee Ray. I would love to have seen people's reactions in the 80s when this movie came out to that moment. Like, that doll just came alive, like flinging his arms around me. He starts cussing, he's flailing, he's like trying to punch her. She drops him, and then you see him run away. Like, it was so good. It was such a good monster reveal, such a good killer reveal. It's chilling, it's scary, and like genuinely, it is one of the best horror movie monster reveals of all time. Like, there's just like, for me, I'm like, I can't top it, like, personally, because I'm like, nothing tops that, because again, for someone who has known the character for who he is, to go into watching the original movie and be like, wow, that's actually genuinely surprising to see it done that way.
Exactly.
So that's my number one pick, the original Child's Play Chucky reveal.
I agree with that. No, it really is good. I'm sorry, I'm having flashbacks to when I was a child watching it alone in the room.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I mean, not knowing what this movie's about. And being like, oh, God.
Oh, the doll's alive. Now I don't want to play with my toys anymore.
Exactly.
This is not Toy Story, Mom.
This is not
Toy Story.
I love that
They
movie.
do not have a friend in me.
I don't think they want a friend in me. So,
right. What is your number one pick?
My number one, thank you for the drum. My number one is Jason Voorhees, but it's the first Friday the 13th movie where in the ending you think that everything's cool, like, you know, the music's playing, the sun is coming up and everything, we're in the canoe, and like, you know, we just know everything's gonna be okay, and then it's just that one last jump scare, or really, the way I feel about it is the one real jump scare of the movie.
It is.
Where Jason comes out of the water and just like starts to just kill her.
Starts to strangle Alice.
Exactly. So I was really far down. But yeah, so I don't know, it just like, it got me good the first time I ever watched it, because to be honest, the movie's not scary by any means. And so I was just like, all right, well, that was the end of it. And I'm like, this was a cool movie. You know, I was sitting there like enjoying it. And then that happened. And that actually got me like,
yeah.
So it was, I don't know. I would say that's probably one of my favorite horror movie monster reveals is like actual Jason Voorhees. And now you're kind of just like, wait, so what?
And it's like, you know that there's like 8 million sequels after that, so it's like you're like, oh man, it's like the first time we really get to see Jason doing anything. And even though they frame it as though it was just a dream and like she just had a dream, it's like, man, he came back the next movie.
Yeah, he did.
He was ready to go.
I knew Jason coming back.
He was ready to go.
Like, come on, Jason, you got 20 movies.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to go to Manhattan still.
You still have to go to Manhattan. He still have to take his long boat trip to Manhattan. Oh my god.
Boy, going to Ellis Island.
Exactly. All right. Well, those are our favorite horror movie monster reveals. So let us know which ones you agree with, which ones you don't agree with, which ones you like. You might have some monster movie reveals that we don't even know. I honestly like some good picks. Some good picks there.
Very good picks.
So that is gonna be it for us today. Yeah, we've got 2 more movies in Pride Month. 2 more movies.
Yes.
I'm very, very hype about this next 2 movies. Both movies I'm very hype about.
Absolutely.
It's going to be good movies. We'll come back with more positive reviews, because the last 2 movies we've kind of been a little negative.
We're dumping on them, but these next 2 are we already know. Yeah, they're masterpieces.
We've seen them. We've both seen them. Multiple times, and we're like masterpieces.
Yeah, so it's just going to be a love fest.
Exactly. Well, thank you guys so much again for listening to today's episode.
If you like what you hear and are afraid to miss an episode, you can catch us every Wednesday at noon over on Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you choose to listen.
Catch up with us over on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Dial H for Horror Podcast, and feel free to check out our Patreon for exclusive content under the same name. Once again, I've been Shay.
And I've been Gina.
Be safe out there, and we'll see you all in the next episode.
Stay spooky.